load Photoshop, and then go to File and select New. Photoshop will come up with some preset sizes. We're going to change these. So call your file Aston logo, and then change centimeters to pixels. These are the individual coloured dots in a picture. We're going to choose a specific size of 512 by 512 pixels. This will give us a square that will look good as a logo on high resolution screens. When you've set these settings, click on OK, and you should have a white square in the middle of your screen ready to draw on. We're going to use the text tool, which looks like a capital T on the toolbar. And we're going to drag a box out on the screen that's big enough for the word Aston. A text size of about 48 points should be fine. And Aston should be typed in capital letters. Then you can highlight your text and change settings such as the font. We're going to go to something sans serif, like Arial Black. And we can choose a colour, and we're going to use one that's part of the Aston logo, so we're going to choose a bluish colour. Normally you can see all the colours of the rainbow, but if you tick only web colours, this will reduce to a cartoonish palette. In Photoshop, you can either tick to accept settings or use the no-go symbol to cancel. We'll tick here to finish setting the word Aston. The colour palette is taking up most of the screen here. If you double-click on layers, this will let us see what our picture consists of. There is a background, and then there's a layer with the text Aston on it. The Aston layer, we're going to change, instead of being fully solid, to be around 25% transparent. And that way it fades and is not as visible when we start out. We're now going to add a shape. So hold down the Shapes button and choose the Rectangle tool. Drag a rectangle that's slightly bigger than the word Aston. It needs to cover over it. And then choose the colour. And we're going to choose a bright yellow, which is also part of the Aston logo. Notice the two layers have been arranged one above the other. If we move Aston to the top, then it will appear instead of being hidden by the rectangle. We're now going to use the Move tool to move the yellow rectangle to the bottom of the screen. But when we choose Move and then start to drag, it's the word Aston that seems to move. This is because the Aston layer is currently selected. So we need to choose the rectangle layer and then move that to the bottom of the screen. We will also set this to be not entirely solid, so set this to approximately 50% so that it starts out slightly transparent. The last element we need to add is a capital A, so back to the Text tool and drag out a large box to cover most of the middle of the logo. We need to set the size of the text to be large, but not too large for the box. We're also going to use a serif font that has feet and tails. So we're going to use Times New Roman and a size of about 300 or 400 pixels is good. The drop-down only goes up to 72, so we'll have to type in a size into the box. And when we have our capital A with a serif font, we're going to set it to a grey colour and tick to approve that. And these are all of the elements we need for our starting logo. We'll just move that and adjust things to be at a good starting position.